So what is the not-so-secret formula of anxiety? Most of us would agree that anxiety is ever-changing and looks different moment to moment. So let's do ourselves a favor and simplify it the best we can. Anxiety is the ultimate reaction to combining imagined fears and perceived threats to analyze an initial thought. Or another way to look at it, initial thought plus imagining fear plus perceiving threat plus reaction equals anxiety. Let's take this step by step. We start with the initial thought. This thought has some level of personal experience and beliefs poured into it. What this means is that the thought serves a purpose in your life and is not meant to be ignored. Thoughts are what shape our actions, anywhere from short-term, like picking up groceries, to long-term, such as choosing what to study in college. Thoughts can be motivated by positive change to the form of a goal, such as to get fit, try that new hobby, or pursue that mate. The thought brings about the idea of change that will be worth undertaking. Well, because a thought serves a purpose, we begin to analyze it further and further, especially those long-term thoughts. Now let's take a look at imagined fears and perceived threats. The first key word is imagined. Now, imagination gets a bad rap. Most adults believe imagination involves thinking about knights, princesses, and fire-breathing dragons. That imagination is meant for the elementary classroom, before we feel the weight of reality on our mortal backs as adults. However, we actually use our imagination each and every day, many times throughout the day. See, Peter Pan, he never did leave Neverland. The true essence of imagination is creating ideas in your head based on ideas, memories, and beliefs. Think about it. You imagine scenarios or possible realities that do not exist yet. So you can already see how your amygdala wants to physiologically support you when you start imagining new situations. Even the simple act of deciding what to do next is using your imagination. I hope we've struck down the belief imaginations are just for kids, because they're not, and dragons are cool. We move on to fear. How lighthearted. So since you watched the video on the foundation of anxiety, you know that ding ding ding, fear is the foundational emotion of anxiety. Fear is a basic human emotion that humans have had forever in order to keep us alive. Props to you, amygdala. The memories stored in your amygdala are paired with emotions of fear. Real fast. What is fear? It is the belief that something or someone is dangerous. But this is important because we avoid the things that are dangerous in order to keep us alive, like angry-looking dogs or fins sticking out of the water. So again, fear is not designed to be a bad thing because our memories tell us, oh shoot, remember that tall grass in the hills? They can have rattlesnakes in them. A perceived threat is the bread and butter of anxiety. First, perception is the process in which you receive, interpret, and organize sensory information. Or in other words, it's a combination of information coming in from experiences in the world and our understanding/expectations of what the world is like. Someone asks you what the wedding was like last week. You would say, oh, he and she looked beautiful, cake tasted great, the music was lit. So sensory information is what you might expect: smell, taste, touch, sight, and hearing. And we've got another connection here. Take sight as an example. Use your imagination. You're able to base future events on experiences you have seen, such as what a birthday party or wedding should look like. Your perception of how you see those things directly shapes your imagination. Well, that doesn't sound bad. However, what drags down perception is the idea of it being a threat. We use our perception of sight to imagine the presentation going bad, hearing the silence when you forget your lines, and seeing your peers laugh at you. We begin to weave in our fears with our perceptions, and bam, you get a threat that can harm you physically or emotionally. Finally, reaction. Reaction is what holds all of our attention. Without a reaction, we wouldn't have a problem now, would we? So how do we react to imagined fear and perceived threats embedded in our initial thought? The amygdala nearly instantaneously chooses fight, flight, or freeze towards stimuli or things in the world that are deemed as dangerous. In other words, all the amygdala wants to do is protect you and keep you alive. So the reaction looks like a raised heart rate, sweaty hands, and a swarm of butterflies flying frantically in your stomach, and only being able to think about the same thought over and over. We call that rumination. You are physiologically and psychologically reacting to something that is not real yet, imagination, and seeing it being harmful to you, perceived threat. So again, here's our formula. Initial thought plus imagining fear plus perceived threat plus reaction equals anxiety. But this still doesn't answer our question, what is anxiety? That's in the next video.